What's up, guys? It's the Odds Couple. I'm Sam.
I'm Taylor.
I'm the brains.
I'm the personality.
So what do we have for him today? I believe today we have a request, actually.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Alex. He reached out, and we are going to cover the top 5 quarterback and wide receiver duos.
Okay, so this is referred to in fantasy as stacking.
Okay.
So it's when you take the same quarterback and a receiver or a tight end from the same team. So for a while, it was kind of almost looked down upon. Reason being, if the quarterback has a bad week, you're probably screwed for both. But in daily fantasy, it's become really popular. So I definitely like it for that. And it's kind of worked its way into redraft leagues and your long fantasy. So, yeah.
All right. Let's go over the first one.
First one, my favorite one is, I feel like it's got to be kind of obvious.
Wait, let me guess.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Is it for the Ravens?
Oh, okay. It's not obvious to all.
Oh. One of
No.
them that you have has to be Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews.
Well, don't tell them.
Oh,
Gosh.
all right, sorry.
No, up first, I have Kelce and Mahomes.
Oh, okay.
So Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. They've obviously, put on a show, connected numerous times. In fact, in 92 games, Kelce's got 606 catches, over 7,500 yards, and 63 touchdowns. That is including playoffs. So basically, more than 2/3 of the time, he's scoring in the games that they play together.
Yeah.
Which, again, if Kelce's having a good game, Mahomes is pretty much having a good game. So that's kind of the point to it. So if you can get now, of course, the downside to it is if you're doing this in redraft leagues, you're spending definitely this year, a first-round pick on Kelce, and then probably trying to take Mahomes in the third round. Sometimes he's going in the second. So that's kind of the thing. You're not wasting because they're good, but you're taking them with your top 2 picks. So you and neither one of them is a wide receiver or a running back. So you really have to hit on the wide receiver and running backs in the following rounds. That's kind of your risk-reward with those guys.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're also very expensive in daily fantasy. They're going to be usually every week the top 2 highest, players at their position. So again, hitting on some guys that are less expensive in the daily fantasy weeks are important.
When you say expensive, are we like spending extra money to get these people in our staff?
Yes, in daily fantasy. So I know I haven't really gone over it with her much, but in daily fantasy, you have a salary cap you stay under. So each player is given a price tag. And obviously the better ones are the ones with the better matchups that they think are going to perform well that week, cost more than others.
So that's a lot more work to keep up with than a regular fantasy draft.
I mean, keeping up with? I mean,
are you swapping the players out more? Like how you were explaining?
No, because you have a new team every week.
Oh,
We're year-long. It's like the drafts that we've been doing and stuff. Those are our guys for the whole year unless we drop them and add someone else.
Maybe we need to do an episode so I can learn all about the daily fantasy. All right, let's talk about who you have up next.
Up next, so you want to go ahead and guess it now?
Oh, is it my other guess? Is it the Ravens?
It is the Ravens.
Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I mean, who else, right?
Okay.
So, again, kind of like a poor man's Mahomes and Kelce, I would say. Yeah, you can get them cheaper. Andrews or Lamar, neither one is a first-round pick. So you can take your running back or wide receiver that you like, come back and get Andrews and Lamar in probably round 3 and 4 maybe. Or, if you really want to, I wouldn't really reach for round 2. But if you can make it work, they're a great tandem. Andrews is still Lamar's security blanket. Some more stats for you. In 68 games together, Andrews had 279 catches, over 3,600 yards, and 31 touchdowns. So about half the games they play together, Andrews is catching a touchdown. Again, somebody at a premium position like tight end that is, if he has a good game, Lamar's having a good game. Plus, you got Lamar's legs in there. So he pretty much, he's got a really good floor as a quarterback. And then you add in Andrews, who at that premium position is going to outscore so many other tight ends. That's why I like them as the quarterback duo.
I kind of feel like if a quarterback is runs a lot, then it wouldn't be a team that you would typically take a duo for, right? Because that would take away
So,
from.
so you have a point there for sure, because that takes away from him throwing the ball to that guy. But if he does both, then I mean, of course,
Like
it's fine.
obviously,
Like
if it's like a split.
when he does
a good
throw, he
split.
throws the ball to Andrews.
Right.
So that's the thing there.
Yeah.
There's another guy that we'll mention on here who has a similar, similar tendencies as Lamar, like you just talked about. If he runs a lot, is the receiver getting those catches and stuff.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that in a minute, but.
Okay. Well, let's move on. Who do you have for us? Number 3.
Number 3, I'm gonna go, and this is for this year. This one they don't have history together, but I love Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson this year together.
Yes, you do love Garrett Wilson this year.
Yeah, so a quarterback who's he used to use his legs a little bit more than he does now. He's really not going to give you anything with his legs. To your point, just a minute ago, but I think Rodgers has a good bounce back year. He's got something to prove in New York, and when he throws the ball, he's throwing to Garrett Wilson. I think what we saw in Hard Knocks, where he told him after they connected in preseason, first of many, I think that rings super true this year.
Yeah.
To give you kind of an idea of Rodgers and his number 1 receiver, obviously everyone knows Devontae Adams was with him for a while. With Adams, they had 108 games together. Adams had over 7,600 yards and 68 touchdowns.
Wow.
And I think Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams is incredible. It's hard to compare a guy who's been in the league 1 year to a fantastic receiver like that, but I think he is going to be a legit receiver in this league. Top 10 receiver this year, and I think they connect a whole bunch.
Yeah.
So again, Rodgers you can get almost undrafted. I think in half our leagues he's probably going undrafted. The other half someone takes him at the end, sometimes us. Garrett Wilson is, second round pick right now. So again, more of a cheaper option than Mahomes and Kelce. But yeah, I like them. I like them a lot this year.
All right. Let's move on to number 4, who is up.
Number 4, I've got Tua and Tyreek Hill.
Oh, okay.
So they played together only 1 year, and Tua was obviously missed a few games, concussion and stuff. Even with the one where he got knocked out, in 13 games together, Tyreek Hill had 94 catches, over 1,400 yards, and 8 touchdowns.
Wow.
I think Tua bounces back this year. Hopefully the concussion issues are behind him. And I mean, Tyreek is going to ball out no matter who's his quarterback. But Tua has so many boom weeks last year.
Yeah.
I think their offense keeps clicking, and he's got Waddle to throw to as well and stuff. But Tyreek is his guy there. And honestly, there's a case to be made that in some, not for year long really, I wouldn't ride them all year long, but in some daily fantasy this year, if you like the matchup with the Dolphins, you could go Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle, all 3 at once, and take your chance on that. And if they have a big day like they did sometimes, like against our Ravens, I mean, that could win you a week for sure.
All I can think of when you said ball out, I just wanted to fill in the song. I think it's like roll out, ball out, roll out.
Who's next?
All right. Okay, we'll move on to number 5.
Number 5, I'm going Josh Allen, Stefon Diggs.
I could have guessed this one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you've talked about that. Okay.
Oh okay. Well, I believe we drafted him last night.
Yeah.
We didn't get Josh Allen, but we took Diggs. So since Diggs has moved over to Buffalo, he has 108 catches, 103 catches, 127 catches. So over 100 catches all 3 years he's played with Josh Allen. His yardage, over 1,500, over 1,200, over 1,400, touchdowns 8, 10, and 11. I mean, it doesn't get any more consistent and just, crazy than that, really. He's going to be a top 10 wide receiver, top 5 wide receiver. And Josh Allen, of course, is, potentially the number 1 quarterback this year. He's going to add you some rushing yards and rushing touchdowns still, and Diggs is going to be his go-to guy. I mean, who else are they throwing the ball to? Gabe Davis, we've talked about, hasn't lived up to the potential or the hype, and they've got Dalton Kincaid there, and who else? I mean, Diggs is going to be the go-to guy. He was a little pissed off in the playoffs last year and kind of yelled at Allen a little bit, so hopefully that really gets him the ball even more. But, yeah, I mean, they're one of the best duos in the league for sure.
Number 1. You're reaching high.
Yeah.
So has a lot of confidence.
So
in that.
we're doing top 5. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna throw in a 6th anyway.
Whoa, we get a bonus one.
Yes, you're gonna get a bonus one because I was between this and Rodgers. I really wanted to put.
Be extra.
I do like to be extra. Well, Alex recommended this. He requested this, so we're gonna give him a bonus pick here.
Yeah, that's good.
So Rodgers and Wilson, I really needed to put on this list because I really like them this year. But if they were gonna, I was gonna keep them off potentially just because they hadn't played together yet, and I was gonna put in Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown.
Well, if you don't say it here, then it wasn't a belief of yours. So you're putting it on the books
I'm
now.
putting it
You're
on the
marking
yes,
it.
yeah. I should just pick every duo so I can't be wrong.
No, that's cheating.
No, I know. These are really kind of the only ones I really like, if we're being honest. But so Hurts, honestly, you could go two ways with this one with Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts, you could take with AJ Brown, but you're using higher draft capital. Or you could take Devontae Smith a little bit later. And comparison, AJ Brown last year with Jalen Hurts, 88 catches, 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns. Devonta Smith, 95 catches, almost 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. They really weren't that far off from each other. A.J. Brown had more touchdowns. Devonta Smith had more catches. But I think A.J. Brown, he's phenomenal, but I think he's kind of at the peak of where we're going to see him. And Devonta Smith, I feel like, could have another level to his game. He's only been in the league a couple years, and I think this year he could really take another step forward. And, again, you're spending a little bit less on him, so you could maybe fill out your lineup with another running back or wide receiver before that. But, yeah, and that's who I was talking about adds, to the he's got running. Mm-hmm. What am I trying to say?
Legs?
Yes,
yeah.
He's got legs. He adds rushing to his game.
So this is
just like Lamar.
Lamar matchup. The
Lamar comparison,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So, but they still, when he throws, it's going to be these two guys, and they still obviously put up huge numbers, even with Hurts taking a lot of the touchdowns himself, running them in, and a lot of yardage, on the ground as well. And he obviously was out a couple weeks last year. So, that's the biggest takeaway from this is that's the risk to it is, like we mentioned, if the quarterback goes out, you're usually screwed.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there's some rare cases where, like, Dak Prescott went out and CeeDee Lamb didn't miss a beat with Cooper Rush as his quarterback.
Yeah.
Those are going to be kind of rare, though. If Mahomes goes out, Kelce he's still going to be the go-to guy, but is he really going to put up the same numbers? Probably not. He did catch a touchdown from the backup in the playoffs and whatnot, but he's not going to consistently put up the same numbers he would with a star quarterback. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if you've ever mentioned a quarterback that, like, kind of hits it off with everybody, because I feel like every quarterback has, like, the guy out there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, well, that's why.
But if there's a quarterback that's, like, general.
Well, that's why. I mean, honestly, that's the only thing that's got me kind of like with Jalen Hurts. He's got two big number one receivers, really, but they both put up fantastic numbers. So you can't take anything away. But someone like Justin Herbert, phenomenal in fantasy. I think he has a great year, especially with the new offensive coordinator there, Kellen Moore. But he's got, Keenan Allen is probably his go-to guy, but Allen gets hurt so much. And then they got Mike Williams. They got Quentin Johnston there. They throw the ball to Austin Eckler. He had over 100 catches. Yeah. So there's not really one particular guy that every game he's going to be consistent. They have so many different mouths to feed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
Yeah, so.
Well, you got a bonus, so that concludes the top 5 for sure. So
yeah, I'm just extra.
I'm supposed to be the personality, and you're bringing the extra.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just the brains. Yeah, I'll shut up. Well, that's our favorite quarterback and not really wide receiver, but just quarterback, wide receiver, tight end tandems. That's the favorite guys we like to stack and who we've targeted. I would say when we do it, I don't go into a draft with the sole intention of kind of targeting these guys. But if it happens to, I'm not going to shy away from them just because they're on the same team, which happens a lot. Like, you tend to shy away from guys like, oh, well, I don't want to take 2 offensive guys on the same team. I'm not going to do that when it's guys like this that are especially quarterback to a pass catcher. I mean, they're both going to give you points. So if the pass catcher has a great week, quarterback will, most likely.
Makes sense. But
thanks for the request. Let me know down in the comments. Let us know who you guys like. Is there any tandem that I didn't mention you like? Is there any that you disagree with? Like, subscribe, share, follow, all that good stuff. And we will see you guys on the next one.
See ya.